Steve Brand here. So when I think about mentorship, actually I go back to when I was first a mentor and I'm thinking, they asked me because I'm an expert. That must mean I have all the answers. I don't know about that. The more I think about it, and the more I work with people who are mentors and mentees, and I think about how people who mentored me, what they were thinking about, what they did. A good mentor, it's never about them asking me questions and I'm giving them the right answers and all that. But the one theme I use, something called curiosity before judgment. Before I step in and giving my judgment about what they've done or what they know or what they've learned, I ask tons of questions. And my experience in doing that started when I was a little kid. It was always like, why, mommy? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? I don't understand this. Can you make sense of this to me? And if you think about that, that's what mentors are all about to get started, is to ask a ton of questions. So ask questions so you can understand, see the world through the eyes of the person that you're mentoring. I remember I had a professor once who said that everyone is an expert in their own thoughts. So I can't be an expert in their thoughts. I'm an expert in my own thoughts. So how do we give them an opportunity to share with you why they think what they think? So it's so easy to judge people for how they're thinking, like especially early stage entrepreneurs, they kind of like miss the boat sometimes. And part of it is show me the evidence. What are you thinking? Like what's going on there? Like, what do you know? And hopefully when you start getting their answers, you understand they haven't done their homework, or they looked at it a different way and they didn't really give a good sense of it. So go in there and really ask those questions and really in depth, peel the onion, pull out and say, what's going on in that head? So I understand what they're thinking about. The other theme that I go through is don't write anyone's script for them. This is something that I find many people do. Many people do that. They write the scripts for their customers or their employees or whatever, but don't write their scripts. Allow them to write their own scripts. Allow customers to write their own scripts. One of the hardest things, which we'll talk about in another video, is that customer discovery. And too many early stage entrepreneurs don't even think about doing that. They say, oh, I know who my people are. I know what they're thinking. So I want you to be thinking about looking at the world through the eyes of your mentee and the people that they're trying to serve, their customers and people they work with. So I think that's extremely important. And I also think that you might be asking me, so when do I bring in my expertise? Why do they ask me to get here if I've done this 100 times or even 2 times and they've never done it before? So I ask you to defer your judgment and to start thinking about ways that when you were going through what they're going through, what did you think about? Like, what did you do? How did you learn something? You might want to share your story about how you had a problem, that you made assumptions about people or about situations and how you got around that. So it is okay to share your expertise and it is okay to answer questions. What's not okay is to say, when someone says to you, like, what do you think of that? And immediately you throw away answer, you throw out the answers. And it's better to sort of wait and say, well, why do you think that? And what did you do to find that out? So I think it's really, really important to get out and do that. Now, the other thing is, I always say that, we learn this from learning about the lean startup approach, is get out of the building. Don't sit there. I use the phrase for entrepreneurs that they start with thinking of their venture from the inside out. I have this passion. I knew I wanted to do this. I knew this is a great business, but they don't ask anybody. And your job in this early phase is to drill them and ask them, well, what do you know? Who did you speak to? Oh, I asked customers and they all said this. And then you say to them, how many people did you talk to? So I think it's important for you to test your own ability to be curious, and hopefully you'll learn something in the process, because if you only give them answers, you're not learning anything. And part of being a mentor is learning from other people, because now you have other people with feet on the ground, eyes on the world, and you could learn something to make your world much better. The other thing is, just because you have experience and a certain kind of experience doesn't mean that every venture you work with has the same experience, because every sector is different, every group of employees are different, customers different, even timing. Think about this, we're now in this COVID environment around the world. just because a business worked, 9 months ago doesn't mean it's working now. So your job is to use them as the ability to learn through their eyes. And it's great to have mentors who tell stories, but not who spend their lives and all their time telling stories. So if you're on a Zoom call or in a conversation face to face, sharing war stories, we did this, we did that, and this problem, and at some point, your mentee's like, I don't know, I thought this was about me. And of course, it is about them. And yes, your expertise can be valuable, but it can't be everything. The other thing I find is when I share my expertise and then they go to another mentor, and they'll go to an expert, they may have a second mentor, they may find their own mentor, and you differ in opinions. And then you go to a battle between your opinion and someone else's opinion. And if you focus on process and not the answers, you're going to be much better, because we call that mentor whiplash. And so you just don't want to go back and forth, back and forth. Well, they don't know what they're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. But the bottom line is the only expert in that person's venture that you're working with is them. They are the experts. And then actually reality is the customer is their expert. So use your expertise to help them through the journey, to ask them questions. One thing I do know, and I heard this on a podcast yesterday, is the more you learn, the less you know. And that's what's great about being a mentor. It's a learning process for you. It is not so you can spew out everything you've ever learned about entrepreneurship through your experience. It is also about being curious and teaching them to be curious. Have them model your curiosity in their own work. And curiosity and asking questions and helping them maneuver through the ambiguity of what life is like and what customers are like and fields are like is really what a good entrepreneur is all about, is helping them be the best entrepreneur they can, and curiosity and taking risks and trying new things and experimenting and making, mistakes. And part of your job is to make them feel better. And, I've heard this phrase said many times, it's not what you tell them or what you do with them. It's actually how you make them feel, even in the entrepreneurial world. If you make them feel that they have the confidence, and you make them feel like they have the ability to tackle new challenges and imagine the future and realize the future, that's what great mentorship is about. And part of that is about curiosity and not about judgment. And yes, you have your opinions, but don't judge them for things that they did or did not do. Give them the opportunity to grab onto their own curiosity, ask a ton of questions, and come to some realizations that they can incorporate into their ventures. So that's it. Have curiosity before judgment. Use your expertise after you put them through some process that allows them to explore new ideas and ways of getting data, and then celebrate it when they actually achieve success. And when they don't, make them feel good that they didn't fail, because failure is a part of the process. And we'll talk about that another time. So thank you very much. A little bit about mentorship and curiosity, and good luck.